The world has a new king, Nvidia. As of November 6, 2025, this Silicon Valley giant is the most valuable company on Earth, with a market cap surpassing $5 trillion. Nvidia builds the engines of the AI revolution, reshaping industries and lives. Its GPUs are the backbone of the 21st century. Once known to gamers, Nvidia's technology now trains AI. Jensen Huang, Nvidia's CEO, foresaw this and built the tools to make it real. Nvidia's chips power data centers, autonomous vehicles, and breakthroughs in medicine. But Nvidia, a symbol of American innovation, has an Achilles heel in China. This dependence creates a fragility that markets are only now beginning to price in. Nvidia's story is one of technological triumph shadowed by strategic vulnerability. The next chapter will be written not just in code, but in the geopolitics of supply chains. What binds Nvidia to China isn't assembly, it's raw materials. Rare earth elements like gallium and germanium are essential for high-performance semiconductors. Without them, production stops. China, after decades of strategic policy, controls over 80% of the world's gallium and 60% of its germanium. This isn't just market share, it's a strategic chokehold. Beijing can tighten or loosen supply at will, wielding immense geopolitical power. Gallium is vital for 5G chips and radar, germanium for fiber optics and night vision. For Nvidia, these elements are crucial for the power systems and networking equipment that make AI data centers possible. The entire tech ecosystem begins in a Chinese mine. This dependency was an open secret, the quiet trade-off of globalization. The world benefited from China's low-cost production, fueling the tech boom Nvidia now leads. But the logic of efficiency has collided with the logic of security. The world is no longer flat, it's fractured. The quiet trade-off has become a glaring vulnerability. The supply chain's weakest link is now a global risk. As the tech world leans on China's resources, the balance of power is shifting. The question is, who will blink first? The answer could reshape the future of technology. Tensions between the US and China are boiling over in a struggle for tech dominance. The US has imposed strict export controls to slow China's AI progress, targeting Nvidia's most advanced chips. China fired back in 2023, restricting exports of gallium and germanium. The message Raman Chanan: if you block our access to chips, we can block your access to the materials needed to make them. This is the new battlefield, fought with export licenses, not tanks. The US controls chip design, China controls critical raw materials. Each side is probing for weaknesses, turning supply chains into strategic weapons. The standoff over rare earths is a slow-motion Cuban Missile Crisis for the tech world. For years, globalization let Nvidia design in California, manufacture in Taiwan, and source materials from China. Now that system is a source of profound vulnerability. The US wants the benefits of global supply chains without the risks. But the world isn't that simple. You can't have it both ways. The fate of Nvidia and the global tech sector hangs in the balance. The rules of the game are changing. Supply chains are now battlegrounds. The next move could redefine the future of innovation. The stakes, nothing less than technological supremacy. The world is watching, and the clock is ticking. The outcome will shape the century. For Nvidia, this geopolitical crossfire is a nightmare. The company is caught between American ingenuity and Chinese resources. A sudden halt in Chinese supply of gallium or germanium would be catastrophic. Production would seize up, and the AI revolution would stall. Nvidia's complex supercomputing platforms rely on thousands of components. One missing part can halt everything. Lead times would skyrocket, orders would go unfulfilled, and growth would reverse. The market's confidence would evaporate, and Nvidia's stock could plummet. The ripple effects would hit the entire tech sector. Beyond the financial shock, a sustained supply cutoff would threaten Nvidia's long-term dominance. Competitors would race to fill the vacuum, and Chinese firms would accelerate their own chip development. A move to hobble China could end up creating a stronger rival. Nvidia's vulnerability is now the world's risk. The stakes have never been higher. A Chinese supply shock wouldn't just hit Nvidia, it would ripple through the entire tech ecosystem. Cloud giants like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google depend on Nvidia's GPUs for their AI services. Without new chips, innovation would slow, and the AI arms race would stall. Startups would be starved of computing power, and the cost of AI would soar. The digital economy would feel a chilling effect, a digital winter. The impact would reach far beyond tech. Autonomous vehicles, healthcare, and scientific research all rely on Nvidia's chips. A chip famine would be a famine of discovery. We've built a hyper-efficient global system, but sacrificed resilience. Concentrated production creates choke points and gives governments leverage. The US-China standoff exposes deep flaws in this system. The global economy is balanced on a knife's edge, with Nvidia at the center. The next disruption could change everything. The world's digital future is more fragile than we think. Washington has woken up to the threat. The CHIPS and Science Act is pouring billions into US semiconductor manufacturing, but building factories isn't enough. Raw materials are the real bottleneck. The US is now racing to build a non-Chinese supply chain for critical minerals. This means new alliances with countries like Australia and Canada, and forming partnerships to secure resources. It's industrial policy on a scale not seen in generations. The government is using subsidies and incentives to encourage domestic mining and processing. But China has a 30-year head start, and opening new mines takes time. Environmental hurdles and local opposition slow progress. The road to mineral independence is long and difficult. The US is in a race against time, and China still controls the clock. The stakes, national security, and the future of technology. The outcome will shape the next era of innovation. Silicon Valley isn't waiting for Washington. For Nvidia, supply chain resilience is now a top priority. They're scrambling to diversify, auditing every supplier, and seeking alternatives worldwide. Engineers are tasked with redesigning chips to use less or different materials. A monumental challenge. R&D is now focused on security as much as speed. Companies are stockpiling critical materials, creating strategic reserves. They're signing long-term contracts with new suppliers, even before mines are operational. But stockpiles are a temporary fix, and prices are rising. The industry is preparing for a bifurcated world. Two separate tech ecosystems, one US-aligned, one China-aligned. Nvidia is already making lower-performance chips for China to comply with export controls. This adds complexity and reduces efficiency, but may be the only way forward. The era of a single global tech standard is ending. The industry is adapting to a fractured world. Where does this lead? We're at a fork in the road. One path: escalating tech war. The US tightens controls, China squeezes resources, Nvidia's growth stalls, and the world splits into rival tech spheres. Innovation slows, collaboration fades, and a digital iron curtain descends. Another path: tense but stable coexistence. Both sides recognize mutual disruption is too costly, and tacit rules emerge. Nvidia continues, but in a more complicated world. A third scenario: true diversification. New mines and processing plants break China's monopoly, creating a more resilient, if more expensive system. Nvidia and others gain supplier choice, reducing risk and stabilizing innovation. No one knows which future will win. The world has changed. The simple era of globalization is over. Nvidia is the canary in the coal mine. Its value a bet on continued progress, but that progress is now entangled in a great power struggle. The gamble is on, and the world is watching. The next move will shape the destiny of nations, the stakes, the future of technology itself. The clock is ticking,